hi. It's been a while. How are you? I'm good. I finally sat my happy little butt down and wrote some stuff down that I want to shoot for this year, kind of more broadly. It's not very much, so I'm gonna include this clip in an actual vlog. I don't think it's enough to make a whole video because I really don't think that I'm gonna try and do like full-on year goals. I don't know. I just don't know where I'm at to like vision cast for the entire 12 months. So I would like to kind of leave that open and see where I am at the end of the spring. Here are my 2026 goals. Before we get there, hey, I'm Carrie, I write books. I'm in the middle of book 2, draft 2 of a sci-fi, and that's all I can tell you actually, because I don't have a pitch. Yeah, let's talk generic overall thoughts, things that I want to do this year. And it's small. It's really not that much. Because I have goals that are also like not related to writing or YouTube, but I do have some of those pretty quick. It's like less screen time, which I'm sure is on everyone's bucket list. Prioritizing time with family, and I want to continue learning things that I started to learn in 2025. So like I started to learn about perfume and I started to learn how to knit. My ultimate goal is I want to be able to knit my own socks. We're still working on it. I got sock knitting needles for Christmas, so moving forward with that, be intentional with my health, exercise, things like that. Like those are things that I want to do just across the board. But specific writing goals that are things that I want to keep up this year is I do want to keep up a daily habit of writing. I think it is so beneficial for me to have that habit. It just, I don't know, it keeps my brain warmed up. It keeps me in the project. It's January the 8th and I've basically written nothing this year. So yeah, we're 8 days into 2026. I haven't written a single word at the time that I'm filming this. And that's totally fine. I think I needed a break. I kind of mentioned between draft 1 and draft 2 that normally accepted writing advice is that you take a minute and you step away from the draft so that when you go back to it, it's like you have fresh eyes on it. That's been something that I do between drafts, is like get some space. And I didn't do that this year. I did not get any space between draft 1 and draft 2. And draft 1 and draft 2 feel like completely different books, honestly. Like the experience of writing draft 1 feels totally different from the experience of writing draft 2. That's besides the point. I didn't get space between the two drafts. That was because of my timeline of how I wanted things to go this year. I wanted to participate in NaNoWriMo, and I wanted to be in draft 2 for that, which is where I got my whole 50,000 words in draft 2 by the end of 2025. That's how we got there. Basically, between the months of November and December, I did write 50,000 words. I just couldn't get it all in November, but I digress. It was fun. We did it anyway. So I haven't had a break from this draft. And so this week I've gone back to work and some other things have transpired. So it's kind of been nice to step away from that, to take a little bit more time. I just put more space between two videos and just kind of like took a breather, took an actual holiday. And it wasn't necessarily something that I planned to do. It just kind of happened. Stuff happens. It's okay. And it's been pretty rejuvenating, but I'm definitely like, okay, time to get back in the chair now. Here we are. I'm sure that there's going to be more instances where I need a break between drafts, or I need to step back from the project and not write every day. I'm gonna need a break. And I think that while I want to continue that habit where it's like it's generally accepted that this is what I do every day, I don't want to count it as, okay, failed that goal on this day because that doesn't feel productive. What feels productive is having a healthy relationship with my writing habit. And I think as long as it is habitual for me to sit down and open that document, which it is, we're good. If I get to a point where it's automatic that I don't write, then I need to revisit and be a little bit less forgiving. But that's not where I'm at, so I feel like it's okay. The other thing with that is it doesn't have to be 1,000 words. Like at this point, I know that like I can catch a wild hair. I did that in the last vlog where I sat down for less than an hour. It was more like 45 minutes and managed to get in that time 1,000 words, and it was crazy. I've never done that before. Like, I know I'm capable, and then there are times where it takes me like 4 days to get 1,000 words. So like, I know I can get a lot of words in one day, basically. 2025 was the year where I wanted to write 1,000 words every day, and I did that a lot. I did that a lot in July. I think August too. October, no. But then November was a lot of words every day. It was just free for all. But I had already kind of built a good habit of how much time it took me, what my pace was, that kind of thing. I don't necessarily want to hold myself to that in this year, that I must write 1,000 words every time I sit down. I don't think there was anything wrong with it. I think there will be a time and a place for that. I think maybe March is a good month for that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So I guess it's like another what my goal is not, or kind of like what it doesn't entail, but like I do kind of want to make sure that I keep up that muscle, but at the same time I'm not like striving for that every day. I want to continue to learn and strive to improve with whatever it is, and that's a real big general goal, and it encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses a couple behaviors for me. The big one being opening things up for feedback, talking about struggles I'm having, or asking questions, or workshopping my plot, taking a hacksaw through it and trying to be as critical as possible, because what I want is a good story. Doing what it takes to make it a good story is pretty important to me, and I want to continue to do what it takes to make that happen. The more I practice, the better I get, and it's wild how that's actually real, but it's real. I am far from even good at writing, in my opinion, but it is nuts how much better I've gotten since I started really being intentional with it. It's amazing how that works. My storage was full. Go figure. Okay, what was I saying? Yeah, it's crazy how much practice makes a difference in craft, and I do notice those improvements despite how much I like to rag on myself. But I do want to continue doing that. I don't want to plateau or stagnate or lose my zeal for that. I don't want writing to be like this brain rot activity that just doesn't have any form of struggle attached to it. Like, I don't want this to be a mindless activity to me. Like, scrolling my phone is a mindless activity. I don't ever want creation of really anything to feel like some sort of mindless thing. I want to feel like I'm fully engaged in writing. I feel like the only way that I would not be fully engaged in it is if it starts to feel like this mind-numbing thing that I just do it and it's the same as it is every day. There's no like challenges or hoops, or like I'm not running into any roadblocks. It kind of sounds weird. Like I want to hit speed bumps in the process, and maybe I'm not articulating that totally concisely, clearly, sensically, but I think I really do mean that, because so long as I'm running into sticking points, I feel like that's a sign that I'm learning and improving, if that makes sense. If I have to summit a hump, I had to learn to get there. So I think that's like a good sign. It's frustrating, but it's a good sign. And I don't want to ever kind of get to the point where that's not happening anymore. As if that could ever happen. I can't imagine that ever happening. But I'm sure if you get lazy with anything, it can happen. Let's talk about the spring a little bit, because this brings us a bit more into the daily, brings you a little bit more close up into what I will be doing. I want to lock draft 2, act 1 in February. Feels realistic, so that's what I'm going to say. And sometime in February, March, hire a beta reader from Fiverr or something. Definitely going to release it to my writers group, basically open the floor for some feedback and get some thoughts. What do we think in terms of the opening act of a story? How are we feeling? What are the vibes? I need a vibe check. I need predictions. I feel like a good question to ask is, like, based on the clues and promises that I've made you, what are you predicting? What are you expecting from me? Not so that I can satisfy the reader necessarily, or, write to what people want, but because I want to make sure that I'm communicating what I want to communicate. Someone's impression of what kind of story this is like 12 paces off. I might have a communication issue, Is that a good question to ask? I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. I want to know kind of where people are sitting. I'm not looking for exact predictions. I just want to make sure it's not going to be something completely crazy. I feel like maybe a good example would be like I'm writing a sci-fi and I don't want this book to read as a romance. It's not a romance. Does that make sense? So I think that's kind of an example of what I want to suss out and see if things are clear. Readers are picking up that I'm death flagging or like hinting or foreshadowing something a little bit too hard. I think that's a good example of what I'm looking for as well. It's like, oh, I can totally tell what's going to happen because you are pretty heavy-handed on what's going to happen. And so like you're pretty heavy-handed here. And so I'm guessing that in Act 2 and Act 3, this is what's going to transpire. And if someone like exactly predicts, like off base on my part. I need to foreshadow, I need to prep and prime and promise, but I don't need to like wave a shiny golden flag. Like I'm not looking for predictability. I'm just looking for cohesion. Yeah, that's my short-term goal. That's kind of it. I talked for like almost 20 minutes, but like it's literally 4 bullet points. I might watch Percy Jackson. I'm going to kind of try and sketch out some of my thoughts for where I need to be focusing my energy, kind of what chapters I need to workshop. Because draft 2, Act 1 is drafted. There are chapters that are not locked. So my focus will be there. But really, what I mean is I'm hitting hiccups in Act 2. Like my confusion and difficulty in writing Act 2 is because of things that I haven't quite done correctly in Act 1. That's not the whole picture. There are still new events and new ripples that have to start in Act 2. But that's relatively easy to suss out and doesn't have to do with Act 1. Necessarily, but a large portion of my difficulty in Act 2 is just a lack of clarity or lack of content Act 1, which is crazy because there's so much that happens in Act 1. To me, it feels so fast paced. Yeah, there's just some more things that need to go down. There's some of it is a lack of interiority with the characters, just not thinking certain things that like I think I need to like go back and get in her head and be like, she needs to be questioning this just a little bit more. And I think it's because the inciting incident and how she ends up in this situation is so clear cut that it almost doesn't completely make sense for her to question anything. I gotta solve that problem. It's like, okay, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and then I get out of here. Okay, cool. It's a deal. But she needs to be critical. And so I need to get her in a place where that's what's happening, because that drives the rest of the story. So here we are. I need to find out what key moments, what key plot points in Act 1 leave for that kind of interiority, that kind of questioning, those kinds of things that are missing, and definitely other things as well. But that's a good example of a main thing that I'm dealing with. I need to do that with both of them, honestly. I need to work on their relationship a lot more, actually. This is not a romance, but there is kind of a romantic element between these two characters. They're both pretty dysfunctional. So, like, I'm not totally sold on making them canon. And I know that that might be a little bit of a shock because I have a female main character and a male main character, and they're two POV characters, and it's kind of set up like a romance, honestly, based on that information, but it's very much not. Their relationship plays a huge role in the story, kind of their dynamic, but I do think that there's some work that needs to be done there as well, because it can be so much more than just what it is. Okay, I think I've talked for long enough. Me and Bunny Cottontail are gonna figure out what chapters are problematic and then kind of create some sort of writing plan, I think, for what we will do. And this may or may not be another form of procrastination, just like diving in and doing it. But honestly, what I've learned through all this goal setting and planning and like the past 6 months of writing has taught me that lists and, bite-sized pieces of progress really works for me. It really scratches the itch. Like lists, I don't know if this is the dopamine hit that I get when I get to cross it off, but I think it's more like I get to measure my own progress pretty objectively. And I love that because I feel like progress in terms of like improvement or progress on a manuscript, like I have no idea how close this thing is to done. I know it's nowhere near done, but like I can't be looking at progress in that way. And like whether or not I'm a good writer, I have no way of really measuring that. I have no clue. But these small goals are so easy to measure, and it really helps me feel like I'm actually making progress on this project. And I'm not just like spinning my wheels forever. It helps me know that I'm not going to write a book forever, that I can write mini books in my lifetime. So there you go. There's your apologetic for planning and goal setting and whatever. I might talk to you guys about my January, February TBR later. Okay. So I'm pretty excited about these things, actually. I do want to mention them real quick because I do love books, obviously. And so I'm going to talk about them. But here's a doozy. If you watched one of my videos back in, it must have been August. I don't know. Guess who's still reading Dune? But guess who made progress? This gal. I've been working my way through Dune for like a pretty embarrassing amount of time. And I think it's because it's a book that I really want to make sure that I understand what's happening. That requires time. It's very brain on, but it's an overall enjoyable experience. I don't know why it's so easy for me to put down for long periods of time. We're gonna finish it, and I don't have any bad vibes. I'm going to finish this one, which has been really, really fun. I have not been doing a lot of reading. Like the last few months of 2025 were a really embarrassing lack of reading, but this one's really great. I'm going to finish that one this month. It's probably gonna be a top priority book because I'm thinking about it all the time. I just got done with a fight scene on a stairwell and like never read a fight scene like that. It was really cool. There's some tension between some characters and I'm kind of like so curious how those dynamics play out. So anyway, we're gonna finish Promise of Blood. I got excited and I got this book for Christmas. It's called The Wraith in the Dawn, or The Wrath in the Dawn. Yeah, The Wrath in the Dawn, dummy, not Wraith, idiot. The Wrath in the Dawn. Don't know what it's about. Couldn't tell you. The other cover of this book, I mean, it really did throw me for a loop when I opened it and was like, did I ask for a romance? Did I? Anyway, I don't know. I think I did. My toxic trait is I don't read the blurbs on books. Like I don't read the back. Before I pick it up, I just kind of pay attention to genre and cover, and I get enough information from that, in my opinion. So I was looking at the red cover of this. And so like when I got the cover and the book was like a silk sheet, I gotta be honest, I was pretty surprised. So anyway, but so far it's pretty well written. I don't know where we're going with this, but I'm pretty sure I'm set up with a girl who is getting married to someone she does not want to marry. Yeah, I'm not totally up there yet, but it seems pretty exciting. And then I'm gonna start Kingdoms of Death. I have it on audio. I'm gonna companion read it. That's what I've done with most of the Sun Eater ones. This one I probably wouldn't have to. I did, like with Empire of Silence, I read most of that. With Howling Dark and especially Demon in White, like I needed the companion read to like finish it because just so much going on in life, and I was being way more rigorous with my reading schedule during the time I was reading this book, so it was like I need to get it done. Oh yeah, I only read 28 books in 2025, which is half my goal that I set for myself, but in 2024 I read 30, so like pretty not bad. Anyway, but I am going to start Kingdoms of Death. I am going to companion read it. Is that what you call that? I am excited. I'm really excited. I love this series so much. And then that will be the last Sun Eater that I have on my shelf so far. So anyway, I'm going to pick out some tabbies that match him. Do you want to do that with me? See, this is the stuff that editing Carrie ends up cutting and getting really upset about because she has to cut it. Because it's not exciting, it's boring. But I think this might be exciting. This is the reading box. This bookmark. I got it for Christmas from my husband. It's so cool looking. We need either like some grays. That's too bright. Got enough blue. No. The thing with these books is that I need a whole package of tabs. Like that's been the case for all of them that I've read so far. So a lot of times I only am using maybe 3 or 4 different stacks from one package, and that's sufficient to carry me through the entire manuscript. However, with Sun Eater, it has been a pretty consistent pattern that I need the whole package. So that will probably be the right color palette, but I don't want to use red. I want to stay consistent colorly. Color? Yep, that's a word. New Year's resolution. Clean out stupid reading box, because that's embarrassing. We're gonna go with this. So that's how that decision gets made. I'm gonna clean this up and do the things that I spoke about earlier. Okay, see you later, bye. Oh, hi. Hi, world. It's day 2 of writing for 2026. Are you excited? I'm excited. It's January the 11th, and I'm looking over at my little checky marky thingy. Gonna go into chapter 8 today. So things are smooth. Things are going good. I think I added like 800 words last night to about 4 chapters. Like it's not that much per chapter. The reason being just mostly adding to dialogue, if I'm being honest, trying to get more information out out, and then a lot more interiority, trying to flesh those things out, trying to connect breaks between scenes and locations and occurrences. This is really annoying, but I hate doors. I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but I hate doors. I hate when we're walking from one location to the next and we're separated by a door. I don't like talking about the door. I don't like telling you what we do with the door. I think it's annoying when I have to describe what happens with a door. I struggle to know other ways to communicate place without mentioning the freaking door. It just drives me nuts. I don't like doors. I struggle to open them in real life. I struggle to talk about them in writing. It is a whole situation. Yes, that was something that I had to come to terms with last night. Making sure motivations are clear. I wasn't being too repetitive. Yeah, I mean, otherwise I feel like those chapters are pretty strong. There's definitely like space where I can insert more things if I want to, or if I find that I need to. And that's about it. So yeah, I made certain things a bigger deal too. Like just certain bits of information. I had mentioned them and they had been like so insignificant that like I myself forgot that they were mentioned. So it was like I kind of could brush over it, and that's not cool. Going through, and I went and was like, we're not brushing over these bits of information anymore because they are in fact importante. So I think I'm actually gonna go through and re-record some of these things. I say that, some of these chapters, I say that, and then sometimes I really do not do that for reasons that are beyond me, honestly. But I'm gonna attempt it, and yeah, I'm hitting a few like small things too, like what's the name of that, and can you please stay consistent with what you call this and how you refer to this person and why. The comments on this Google Doc are getting a little bit unhinged. I'll read you this one. Left at 11:03 p.m. Please, dear God, come up with something better. End quote. So coming a little bit unhinged. Anyway, so we're just going to continue the chugging along of this. Minor update too, I'll probably send Act 1 away to be read in exchange for money, probably in March instead of February. Just financially, that makes more sense. So that's the plan. I'll probably try to give it to my Discord sooner than that, but we'll see how the cookie crumbles. We're still shooting for Act 1 being locked and ready to beta read in the spring, coming out of winter, going into spring. So I'm excited. How about you? Anyway, I have a heating pad on, if you can tell. I've got cozy socks. I got a new planner. How exciting. Got a candle going. I have some tea. And I think, yeah, I have everything I need. So it's just going to depend on if I decide I want to read through what I wrote or if I want to just dive back into the writing process. And I think while it's completely quiet in my house, I should probably record. Do I want to? Not exactly, but it's fine. Anywho, okay. I'll talk to you guys on the flip side. See you later. Welcome back to my humble vlog. It seems really late, but it's only 5. We're going to do a little bit of writing today. What do I want to drink? I want some tea. I did sort of some writing yesterday, but honestly, I felt like butt yesterday. Just normal things, but felt like butt. And so just didn't do anything. I watched some TV. I kind of read some stuff, but that's my heater. But I didn't do anything. I don't want to say should have. It was like, I wished I did more, but apart from like reading some things, I really could not do much more than that. It was outside of my capability for that day. So I'm not gonna say I'm trying to catch up because realistically, I don't need to, I don't think. Like, even though I have like a check mark, and did I tell you that my plans have sort of adjusted because of like just some financial things? Like, it makes sense to do beta reading in March, but I still kind of want to be done in February. Whatever, that still holds, that I want to kind of be done but like I don't need to be done right at February anyway. We're still kind of like playing with things a little bit loosely. So like I'm very much not behind, you know, but I did, in my reading yesterday, I did discover that I would like to completely rewrite a chapter, mostly because structurally and character-wise, I think I can do better, you know? That's really what it is. It's just, I think I can do better. It's not bad the way it is. It's not unworkable the way it is. It doesn't like fail to make any semblance of sense the way it is. But I'm looking at it and I've had some distance from it and I'm reading it through and I'm like, you know what? If I go through like kind of what I know about normal story structure at this point, this is, what is this, chapter 8? We're getting into our second POV character for the first time, and it's like he's resisting the call structurally, if you know what I'm talking about. He's resisting the call to action. Knowing that kind of helped put some things into some perspective for me, because I'm like, okay, whoa, I can spend this entire section. The answer is no. Not like, oh, I'll think about it. The answer's straight up no. And I think that brings a little bit more tension to it. Kind of his introspection, like this push-pull, like there's still some things happening, but for the most part, his call into the plot is a hard and fast no. And I think I want to flesh out some of those reasons a little bit better, because he doesn't say no for no reason, and he doesn't straight up say no. In the current version, he kind of just doesn't respond. Like, she gives him this proposition, he's drunk, and he's kind of like, you're an idiot, we're pathetic, and is like going on this drunken rant. But I do, like, even though he is intoxicated in this, like the scene where he's given the call to action, I want it to be stronger, that he has some really good reasons to say no. Like, it's not just, oh, I'm appealing to my worst self to say no and letting the demons win. It's not just that. It's like he has some actual valid reasons for not wanting to go on this crazy adventure with her. This is an action camera, so technically I should be able to throw you up the stairs and the footage should be good. I'm gonna set you on top of my laptop for now, I think. I did take some notes, sticky notes. This is what I'm telling you. And then I identified a moment, which is also kind of a turning point for me. I identified a moment in the chapter where I have this character encounters a symbol, that is a physical thing in the story that represents something else to me. Now, I don't know what the vibe is when it comes to symbols and like the intent of the author and that presence in the story. I don't know what the vibes are. However, I am trying to create a motif because I do want to kind of sketch out his character arc in difference to my other main character. They're on two separate journeys. And so to characterize their separate situations, I do want to hallmark them with different things. And so I have a few different symbols that are kind of consistent throughout the whole story and series, honestly, but this is the first time that this particular symbol has showed up for this character. And the symbol is teeth, just straight up dentals. I'm not gonna give away any more than that, but the symbol is teeth. And so in the original version, he's kind of already made the decision that, okay, I'm done resisting the call. I'm gonna go tell her that I'll come with her. He encounters the symbol and they have this conversation, and then it's like, okay, the rest is history, we're moving on. I like that less, and I like it less because I think I like it much, much better if the symbol acts as part of a catalyst for him finally deciding to not resist the call and accept the call to action. I'm using so many different terms, but like whatever. Should I explain? I don't know. I'm just kind of assuming that if you're watching writing content, you sort of know what I'm talking about. Structurally, I don't really know how exactly to explain it anyway. Whatever. We get to that point in the scene and he sees the teeth. And then I want to kind of flesh out the introspection a little bit more, because while I do want there to be some really strong reasons for him to say no, I also want there to be like some really strong, obvious, like kind of personal growth reasons that he needs to say yes. Those two things need to kind of duke it out. And I think that the turning point for him will be the teeth. And then he will accept the call and go off into the void. I don't think it's spoilers to say that, because it's the first, like, obviously you know that the characters are not going to resist the call to action for the entire book. So yes, he's gonna say yes, he's gonna go with it. So I've decided that I want to completely rewrite that chapter and structure it differently. And what's nice is that this is a change that does not domino affect my entire manuscript, which is really nice because there've been many changes that I've made so far that domino effect and change like all the way up into Act 3, so changes the course of everything. So this is one of those small little microcosms, and I think that's going to be my goal for the day, is to rewrite this chapter. I have a clear idea on what I need to do. I don't know if I fully have a vision for how it's supposed to sound. I think I have the tone. I want it to stay consistent with him. Like, I think I know what I want to do tonally. I know what I want to do symbolically and thematically, sort of. Yeah, I mean, it is thematically, but symbolically, I know kind of what I'm trying to say. I'm doing a lot of things, man. Anthony Doerr wrote All the Light We Cannot See. How many symbols are in that book? 68 symbols? Something like that. I don't think that every single symbol represents an idea or a theme, but I do think that they represent kind of a whole character, that several of them culminate and like gather around particular characters and help give those characters texture and life. So I don't always think that symbols have to be a specific, like, ooh, I've seen this thing pop up like 3 times. What does it mean? Those are good questions to ask, but I don't think there always has to be an answer. Sometimes I think those things are just things that show up that bring life to characters. They're a motif that run through your story that remind you of that particular character, which is a little bit of sleight of hand. Like, you can hide those things in prose to kind of hint that you should be thinking about that character, even if the other character is not directly thinking about that other character. Does this make sense? Okay, so I don't think that symbols always have to be like thematically relevant in order to be there and be symbols, whatever. But how do we feel about symbols that do in fact represent things like theme? And how are we feeling about representing like themes in our books? And that, I mean, like, what are the questions in our natural world that we're trying to investigate in whatever story we're telling? That's what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of theme, is what are we investigating? For me, it's something I don't fully understand, something that I don't have all the answers to, but something that begs the question all the time for me. So I'm writing a book about it to try and wrap my head around it. Does that make sense? And that's like the big theme of this book, is that particular question, which I'm not going to tell you. And I don't have the answer. Like, if I have a symbol that relates to that question, that essential theme or whatever, like, how do we feel about that as authors? Do we intentionally do that these days and like make our voices as the author heard? Or is it different? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Sound off in the comments what you think. If my question makes no sense, say that too. If you have thoughts or opinions about this, I am genuinely curious, because there's definitely some discourse about intentions of the author and who an author is and what they think, and how should that present itself, if it should at all, in the narrative, and should that affect how the reader walks away from the book. Does that make sense? Okay. This is not what this video is about. This is a vlog. A vlog that will be late, probably late, like maybe 13 days past my other vlog. I don't know. Anyway, those are the questions. Those are the things that I'm thinking about. How do we feel about themes in books? And obviously I don't want to be heavy-handed. But I do want, because this is what I like to do with books, is I do want the reader to be able to scratch the surface of what I'm writing and be able to ask deeper questions and make deeper connections and like keep going. The people who would read my writing and parse it apart, I would hope that they would find more to it than just pretty words and cool characters and setting or whatever. I want it to go deeper than that. In order for that to happen, I feel like I myself have to do groundwork and really spend time with particular elements and scenes and characters and motifs and whatever else I throw in here creatively. I want that to have deeper meaning so that readers can in fact like scratch the surface, go further with it and make connections to other things and kind of play mind map with my novel, because that is what I like to do with Pierce Brown's stuff. It's what I like to do with Fonda Lee's books, actually. They're really good for that. It's what I like to do with Dune right now. Like I like discovering, like I kind of do want to show you what the inside of my book, All the Light We Cannot See, which was a 5-star read for me. I do want to show you guys like some of the annotations that I did for that book. And I enjoy so much looking at it to pick it apart and find the deeper stuff. Because it's more than just a story. It's more than just a story about 2 kids in Nazi-occupied France. It's cool. So anyway, I feel like you don't get that kind of story on accident. I feel like you do kind of have to, like, I don't know, correct me. I'm not an author, correct me. But like, I kind of think that in order to get that, it's not like, it's not something that happens on a whim. I feel like there's like some back work on that, right? How do we feel? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking to you now and procrastinating because I've been talking for 20 minutes. How's that possible? I don't know. Okay, talk to you later, bye. Hi. Let me tell you the journey. Let me tell you the things that have transpired. It's the 17th. This vlog is so freaking long, but I figured I'd go ahead and end it because I didn't film any ending clips. And if I did, the clip either disappeared or was corrupted because I ran out of storage. So I, ran out of storage in my camera, which was fine because then I needed to offload said footage and I wasn't paying attention to like the storage on my computer. It just threw it on there and thought everything was fine. Everything was not fine. Anyway, I got it worked out, but I'm using an external hard drive now and I've figured that out. And then I also figured out how to dump the clips and raw footage and copies of things that I don't need anymore off my computer. So that's cool. We're moving up in life, but that was the battle that I fought this morning, or mostly my husband fought, because as soon as things stopped stopped working, I immediately screamed, "Babe!" Because my husband works in IT. Why would I not scream, "Babe!" So anyway, I think that's kind of the long and short of it. I finished chapter 8. I finished writing it. I like where it's at. Next vlog. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about how I'm gonna workshop chapter 9. Maybe we talk about other things. I don't know. But yeah, so that's cool. I'm excited to go on that journey with you. I don't think I need to go over 5 and 6 again. I don't know. I do, actually. I went over them once. I need to go over them again. I do, especially the conversation with the general. That just needs to have a whole overhaul. I got some stuff that I need to work out. That's for another day. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I hope your life has been dandy this week. This is how my January is starting. A real slow start to my January, where we're drinking water again. Pretty chill. Just crashing out about things a little bit. And yeah, baby steps. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for coming around for the journey. Thanks for sticking it out with me. Yeah, that's all. Bye.